Just ahead, there aren't many sources of power as renewable as the heat beneath our feet.
Si on prend de l'eau chaude dans le sol, on se sert de son énergie.
On this episode, we look at geothermal, its sustainability, practicality, and cost.
It's effectively an unlimited source of energy.
And a climate case against the Swiss government sets an enormous precedent after elderly women argue the health risks brought on by global warming violates their right to life.
The track we are on is more on 3 degrees global warming.
Just 2 degrees is on. Now.
I'm now 76. And now I know my daughter doesn't like me to say this, but statistically speaking, in 10 years I'm gone. So it's not I and my generation that profit from what we gained today, the next generations.
We begin this episode taking a look at an energy source beneath our feet that could help propel us to sustainability. Its supporters say it's a clean, renewable source of low-carbon energy that could play a vital role in tackling the climate crisis. The potential of geothermal energy seems enormous. If estimates are correct, then geo is 50,000 times more powerful than all oil and gas resources.
You may have soaked in a natural hot springs pool or witnessed the old faithful Giza blasting hot water into the air at Yellowstone National Park. But have you ever wondered where all that heat comes from? Well, it all lies deep below the Earth's crust and is called geothermal energy. In volcanically active areas close to tectonic plate boundaries, it's been used for decades to supply renewable heat and electricity in dozens of countries. At tectonic plate boundaries, water breaks through the Earth's surface with steam and hot water all by itself. But it can also be used in other areas, away from its origin. Listen to Francois Joubert, director of a plant in France's overseas Guadeloupe region, which hopes to supply 20% of the island's electricity through geothermal energy by 2035.
À notre droite, ici, c'est une turbine à gaz, qui, elle, va donc recevoir de la vapeur sous pression que l'on conditionne au préalable au niveau des puits. On sépare avec l'eau chaude. On réceptionne la vapeur ici à 7 bars. On fait tourner une turbine, un rotor dans un stator, qui lui va donc alimenter un réducteur de vitesse, qui va alimenter un alternateur. L'alternateur va produire du courant que l'on va transférer dans un transformateur pour pouvoir le transformer et le mettre sur le réseau de la Guadeloupe.
Advocates say this renewable source has the potential to increase energy security in an uncertain world. After the 1970s oil embargo spurred an energy crisis across the world, Iceland harnessed its abundant geothermal resources for heat and electricity. Today, the country receives more than 90% of its heat from geothermal energy. Experts say the resource has the potential to slash high-emitting nations' dependence on dirty fossil fuels. Indonesia, for one, has close to 40% of the world's geothermal potential, while untapped resources in the United States could supply 10% of today's energy needs. For countries with little to no natural resources, geothermal energy could reduce reliance on imported fuels.
It is an energy source that could be utilized more and better, but it's not a completely renewable source and it's not without its problems. I think that's important to remember. But it's overall better than coal and gas.
Environmental groups say solutions must be found for the harmful drilling stage, which can lead to sulfur pollution and CO2 emissions. Using geothermal for electricity, however, produces only about 1/6 of the CO2 of a natural gas power plant and emits 13 times less greenhouse gases.
It was worthwhile fighting because now we have 80,000 Swiss francs or euros. No, that's not it. And if we are on this line, first of all, yes, we were fighting for ourselves. We said during heat waves, our health is high at risk, the highest of all the population segments. But we know, I'm now 76. And now I know my daughter doesn't like me to say this, but statistically speaking, in 10 years, I'm gone. So it's not I and my generation that profit from what we gained today, the next generations do. And that's very important for us. It is.
Wow, those statements gives me a lot more perspective in terms of why you're fighting for this. So the court's decision is legally binding, but do you think the Swiss government will comply?
Well, they have to, because we are a member of the European Council. You know, this whole thing has nothing to do with the European Union, what some people still confuse. So we are an official member state of the Council of Europe. Now, the court that belongs to the Council of Europe is the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. Many people confuse that also with Brussels and then the EU again. So the government better accept it. And they have made a first statement, and they said, yes, we will honor this statement, we will live up to it. And I love to hear that. But we all know how many words are spent out into, and they fly somewhere around, but they don't go where they actually should. So we make sure that they increase the speed of coming up with a climate policy that really deserves its name and protects the population from these terrible and increasing heat waves. And we are not going back to the rocking chair, I can tell you that. We will watch out that the government does its job. We don't know exactly how we can oversee that, because first of all, it's the job of the ministers of the European Union. So there will be one or two, I don't know how many persons be assigned. And Switzerland now has to give evidence of what they are doing at the beginning now 4 times a year. That's a lot. And we will we will definitely look at that. And then necessarily speed up the heat. You know, we all have to give a little bit of a kick in the behind of these slow acting governments and politicians.